Hey guys, welcome. Today we're going to look at how we can lose ourselves and our ego through service. Things we can actually start doing today on our road to enlightenment. Guys, have you ever wondered why monks and priests and nuns and people who belong to religious faiths and sects dress in a kind of a uniform? Why do holy people act crazy in many cultures and make a fool of themselves in public? Is there a way that we can reduce our sense of self through service? Now, why are we trying to reduce our sense of self? Because, as we've seen in other videos, enlightenment consists of a deep level realization that there is no me that is separate from others. And so we are going to see what actions we can do to actually try to remove the I from our awareness. So first, let's take a look at what happens when people join sects or organizations that are very tight-knit. Now, if you think about monks and nuns and sadhus and fakirs, when they join their religious group, they are usually asked to wear a uniform. And why do they do this? To lose their sense of individualism. They don't wear clothes that mark them as unique anymore. They're also asked to disconnect ties to their older life and to people that they knew before, including their parents, their family, and so on. And why is this done? Again, to lose their sense of self that they have built up in the past. And usually, when they join these organizations, they are also asked to follow certain rituals. And again, it's all about losing your sense of activities that you did in the past that may have defined you as who you thought you were. Now, this is not just confined to religious groups, but happens in many other organizations too. For example, soldiers, when they join a professional military, their hair is cut, they are all made to wear the same uniform, and in many cases, they're systematically broken down before being rebuilt to belonging to a unit. Gangs do this too when they initiate people into a gang, where they're asked to cut ties with their earlier family and where the gang becomes their family and so on. So we see that in some cases, this process of losing one's identity may take us further ahead on our path towards enlightenment, and in some cases it may not. So when does it help in reaching enlightenment? When it is not creating a sense of belonging to a group where one starts to think that belonging to that group makes one better than others, and where people outside the group are worse in some way. This is really important to understand because in some of these situations, the ego is actually enhanced, whereas in other situations, like for example with sadhus and fakirs, the ego is not enhanced. And this is really important when it comes to either moving forward on the way to enlightenment or not moving forward. So we see that some members in these small groups may feel that they are better than others and their ego may be being enhanced. But even if we don't belong to a small group, but instead we undertake self-improvement methods, like let's say we pick certain methods of meditation, maybe we do certain sonic methods, maybe we go on spiritual retreats, maybe we join certain groups there. Here again, they may act in a way to enhance our ego. And if we start feeling that somehow belonging to the group makes us better than others or puts us further along the road to enlightenment than others or gives us some kind of special power or siddhi, then all of these are things that we need to watch out for. Because in many cases, these kind of emotions and these kind of beliefs can act as an obstacle on our way to enlightenment. So what we see is that it's really our beliefs that are important. And as we see in the bait model in a different video, our beliefs are reflected in our emotions, and the purest emotion of all is the emotion of unconditional love. Why do we instinctively look up to people like Mother Teresa? Because they did selfless service. And how do we know it was selfless? Because they served people from whom they had no hope of any kind of reward. So clearly their intent or their belief must have been egoless to start with. So what we need to do as we serve people is to be careful about beliefs while we do the service that make us feel good or that get us recognition. For example, if you make a donation to an organization and you get recognized for it and it feeds your ego. Of course, empathizing with other people's joy when they are being served is natural. But using that to feed our ego may be counterproductive in our journey. Now, one sure way to make sure that we are not bringing ego into our service is to serve people who actually don't like us, who may have bias against us, who may not see us even as human and may look down on us. We may actually be invisible to these people. Being of service to these people, there is really no possibility here that they are going to reward you or even recognize you. So in this case, you are clearly doing this without any emotion or expectation of ego. You are purely doing it out of a sense of connectedness. And we see the same thing in several different religions where service is emphasized. For example, every time we see people who join religious groups like monks and sadhus and nuns, they are basically asked to serve other people. If you look at the Gita, the central message there again is to take your ego out of the way. Do not think of reward or punishment, just follow your dharma. Islam, which actually means submission, emphasizes being of service to other people. Christianity stresses that one must be a servant to others, and in fact even has the notion of being a servant leader, where you lead without ego. If you think about missionaries of different religions, when they go out, they try to seek being of service to quote unquote uncivilized people. Now, missionary work can be useful, but they have to be careful when they go out. If they are expecting people to convert, if they're expecting people to change, if they're expecting the respect of people, if they're trying to change the civilization or the culture of the people, if they're trying to change the way they worship in their own faith, then all of these are ego enhancing for the missionaries and in a sense are detrimental to the missionaries' search for enlightenment. But if on the other hand the missionaries are going out and let's say forming a school where all they do is try and educate people uh, in a selfless way without any expectation, then in that sense the missionaries are now enhancing their own development towards enlightenment. So what do we conclude from this? Well, first we need to understand that enlightenment is just a deep level awareness, a realization that there really is no separate you that is different from the rest of existence. Selfless service to others encourages us to form beliefs that lead to emotions of unconditional love. The bait video is important because it describes how our emotions are reflections of our beliefs, and the purest emotion that we have is that of unconditional love. And we make up our illusion of reality using our beliefs, our actions, our thoughts, and our emotions. Now, enlightenment may happen as a spontaneous accident where we suddenly feel one with everything and lose our sense of self. And it may come and go. Of course, if we create the conditions for it, the chances of it happening are more. After it comes and goes, what do? Well, we just continue to play the game. We continue to live the illusion. We partake of the illusion. Are we any better off because we are enlightened? Maybe, if you think that our ultimate goal is to be free of this cycle of existence. Just remember that when we die, all of these experiences that we've created, well, they never really existed anyway, and neither did we.